Day 29, channeling from Source. And breathe and rest in your presence and soften and relax in this now moment, just being with no resistance, allowing yourself to feel this body, your body, and at the same time expand beyond your body, being in both, bridging the world of the visible and the invisible. That's right. Yes. Beautiful bridge. Today we are continuing our story with part 3. Our soul. The soul to whom we've given a name just for ease of the story. Knowing that a soul in the formless doesn't have an entity, doesn't feel as an entity separate from the rest. Still, for ease of storytelling within the human mind frame, we've chosen the name Asoa. Asoa rested after her 66 lives, and we're saying her, but it could be him. It's just Nadeja's preference as a woman. 66 lives where she experienced herself as a woman and as a man. 66 lives where she experienced all the different varieties of human experiences, going from the victim and the abuse to the perpetrator and the abuse. Now she is given her first integration class from her perspective, and this has attracted the focus of many souls who haven't incarnated in a body yet. There are many questions from these souls who are so excited as she was to experience life in a body on this planet. So they're obviously gathering in a very unusual kind of gathering, far different from the humankind, for this is the realm of the formless. It is just a focus and telepathic energy, emerging a vibration. But yet we will use words and questions to tell the story. Many souls have gathered. Many souls are excited to hear the first account of Asoa's integration after time on earth, experiencing herself, himself, as a human being. And here is her introduction. Dear souls, part of the eternal flame of Source that we are, I am honored that you are putting the focus of your energy into the observation of this little planet in the middle of this universe, orbiting around the sun. I can sense the enthusiasm, the excitement, the thousands of questions, as it is indeed a very specific experience to be incarnated in a body, just like you, I was. So eager, so longing to feel that experience. And from the place of the formless that I am back into, where we are all there is, and there is no doubt. We can observe, we can understand on some conceptual level what it is like, but there's no experience like being in a body. For as much as I thought I was going to be absolutely aware of my connection to Source, of my connection to the formless, I wasn't. It was a feeling of just being in a body. And from our perspective right now, it is still a marvelous design of the most beautiful experience in discovering the senses and discovering the beauty, the love, the compassion, and many of this. But with it comes the opposite. And my guides told me, but I didn't know what it was like. So it is so difficult to actually describe in words what it feels like to be in a body. But I'm going to try my best. What it felt like to me every time is a sense of separation, fragmentation. It is like being one with the body, and around you is the world which is separate from you in a collective way. There's a collective outside of you, a world outside of you, the external world. And there seems to be a collective inside of you, an internal collective, and you cannot control either. I understand your reactions. I understand the craze happening right now, because when you observe the humans, you do not realize what goes on inside in their internal world. They're in a body that comes from a specific ancestral lineage. And with your body, you inherit the lineage of their ancestors, the lineage of the human collective. And to some level, you bring in as well the lineage of your past experiences. But the human body is designed to only operate at 5% of consciousness. So when you're in a body as a human, you are going to be driven by emotions that you cannot control. The silence in the ether became tangible as most souls were in utter wonderment. You're in a body and you can't control? Yes, what I mean by that is that there is so much contained in what they call their unconscious, which has been stored from all the genes, from their ancestors, from the collective unconscious, from their past lives, but as well, every single trauma which happened when they were younger and when they were not able to deal with an emotion, it gets compartmentalized, fragmented into your brain, but still it leaves an imprint, a blueprint, trauma. And that comes out and you don't know, you don't understand why. Hence, the conflicts which happen in these humans from not being in total control of what goes on within themselves, plus living in a world which again they cannot control because it is a collective universal creation. So you're in the middle of a tug of war between the internal and the external, and they have to really open up to trusting, to surrendering, to having faith in themselves, feeling safe within themselves. And that is not a small feat. That is an incredible, challenging, not always easy experience. I became, in some of my life, what they call the narcissist's archetype. meaning somebody who was so wounded that I lost my sense of direction and I became somebody who used power, not the power, capital P, of the empowerment of the heart, but the power of the ego to get my way, to get things the way I wanted, manipulating people, using people, abusing people in many ways. And I experienced the other side too, where I didn't have any power within. I felt so disempowered that I became the victim of these narcissists. Experiencing both made me aware that these, like many other of their archetypes, the so-called negative archetypes, are just the result of wounding, being damaged to such a level that you cannot heal yourself. You cannot find your way out. And yet, beautiful souls, so many humans have found their way out. They don't even know how amazing they are, because so many humans love. They know what love is. They know compassion. They're still limited, but it takes courage, resilience, and an incredible, incredible level of wisdom to incarnate in this world. Because when you are cut off from source, you're lost. You're isolated. You think you're on your own. You actually think this is the only life you experience. And some do live lifetimes like this. What cracked me open in many lifetimes wasn't the joy, wasn't the positive stuff. It was the traumatic experience of losing a loved one, of going through a disease, of going through a crisis, which was so big that my heart felt it. And as my heart opened to feel it, it suddenly allowed me to feel the opposite too. Grief opened me to love. Worry opened me to love. That's what they call the shadow work. The shadow work is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. It really holds in it the template of the merging between the visible and the invisible, where you reconnect to source, to the ether, to the magic, to the quantum field, to what we are, the formless, the knowledge, the eternal knowledge, eternal wisdom. Asoa could sense the perplexity running wild and the questions about that specific topic, the suffering on the human planet. Yes, I can sense that a lot of you are wondering if that's the only way to learn on planet Earth. Why is there so much suffering on this planet? They have a Zen story, very simple and yet straight to the point. It is the story of the second arrow, which goes like this. When you get shot and you feel the pain of an arrow into one of your limbs, it hurts. And that's a normal reaction to a body part being wounded. That's the first arrow. The second arrow is what happens in your mind after. Why? Why is this happening to me? How come it's only happening to me or always happening to me? What does it mean? and on and on. It's that brain, the monkey mind of the humans, always trying to find a reason when it stays within the realm of the mental mind. It can only get an answer from that world of the material world, trying to find a reason outside of themselves, you see. And sometimes they go within, but as we explained before, the internal world, it's extremely complex and they don't understand either. But some of them manage through their experiences as human beings to grow into that wisdom, and they find the wisdom to stay within and not react. That's what some of them call the shadow work. And if it first starts as a reaction which takes them into that suffering, when they get better at it, they manage to bypass the suffering because they become the observer of themselves, and they manage to not engage with the emotions which really are the fuel to the suffering, and they just embrace what happened to them or what's happening to them as what is an experience. And their mantra is to just be at ease with what's coming to them. These humans grow exponentially, and there are so many who have reached that stage. It is pretty beautiful. Humanity at its best is beyond words, my dear friends, talking in their words. This will be all for today. We'll meet up again tomorrow. Thank you. We love you beyond words. Beyond words. Namaste.